The peace of Christ be with you, my friends. In this video, I would like to narrate an actual exorcism performed by the greatest rosary apostle, Saint Dominic. This is a true story about Saint Dominic. Yes, the Saint Dominic, who in 1214 received from Our Lady herself the devotion we know today as the Holy Rosary. Why did he receive the Holy Rosary? Because he was about to give up hope on the stubborn Albigensians who plagued Europe and Dominic's life. The Albigensian heresy consists of a number of errors. First of all, Albigensians deny the truth that Jesus is the second person of the Most Holy Trinity. They believe that everything material is evil and that only the Spirit is good. Now that cannot be true, because God created the material world and everything that He creates is good. It was during this tough time that Saint Dominic turned to the Mother of God for help. He fasted, prayed, and did penance for the Albigensians for 3 whole days. At the end of this period, he was so exhausted by the severity of his penances that he collapsed onto the floor. It was then that Our Lady appeared to him and gave him the 15 mysteries of her most holy rosary. Once, in a place near Carcassonne, over 12,000 people gathered to hear Saint Dominic preach about the Holy Rosary. Before these thousands of witnesses, a few men interrupted the priest's sermon and pressed their way through the large crowd. "Father Dominic," they cried, and the immediate circle of people surrounding the saint split, creating a generous opening for the man who sought him. Hardly had Dominic seen them when he knew the purpose of their visit. In the company of these newcomers was an Albigensian, a heretic, well known for not only refusing to say the Holy Rosary, but publicly attacking its sacred 15 mysteries. The heretic instantly recoiled at the saint's gaze and struggled violently to flee from his presence. The Albigensian was possessed by the devils, and his friends had brought the poor wretch to Saint Dominic for an exorcism. The devils inside him knew this and dreaded the exorcism, which would banish them from the heretic's body and back into hell. Saint Dominic, instead of beginning the exorcism right away, decided to ask the devils some questions in front of over 12,000 witnesses. In spite of themselves, the devils were painfully forced to answer the saint's questions. When he asked how many devils possessed this wretched man, they responded 15,000. The people shuddered, and Saint Dominic inquired as to why 15,000. To that the devil said that every legion, that is, 1,000 of them, had a right to him for each mystery of the Holy Rosary, which the heretics so foolishly and pridefully had attacked. The evil spirits continued to speak, saying how much they hated Saint Dominic more than anyone else on earth, for the souls which he rescued from their wicked snares through the devotion of the Holy Rosary. They said that whenever he preached the Holy Rosary, he put fear and horror into the very depths of hell. The people were astonished to see the significance of the Rosary, which Saint Dominic had for so long tried to convince them of. As the devils finished speaking, everyone watched and waited. Dominic wasn't done just yet. He carefully placed his rosary around the possessed man's neck and asked the devils his final question. Who of all the saints in heaven is the one feared most by all of you? And who should therefore be the most loved and revered by man? Then came a reaction that even Saint Dominic couldn't have expected. The heretic threw himself back violently and began acting wildly. The devils within him let out such unearthly screams that seemed to echo from the very depths of hell. The thousands of people were seized with horror, and a cold fear began to fill all their veins. As the demons' shrieks continued to fill the air, many of the people fell to the ground, faint from fear. "Answer me," Dominic said boldly. He had no fear of these cowards. The devils then tried to use all of their cunning and wiles to avoid answering his question. Saint Dominic had to fight a long, hard battle with the devils, and he had a hard time getting the answer out of them. Saint Dominic then sought the help of the Blessed Virgin Mary. He knelt and prayed to the Blessed Virgin Mary to enable the devils to speak the truth. Then suddenly Saint Dominic saw a multitude, that of an angelic nature, and there, surrounded by hundreds of holy angels, was the Blessed Virgin Mary herself. In a slender hand she held a rod of gold. She gazed lovingly into Dominic's eyes, giving him great interior consolation and joy. The Holy Virgin stepped towards the silent heretic. Without warning, she raised her arm and struck the possessed man with her golden rod, and commanded him, "Answer my servant Dominic at once." With diabolical hatred, the demons began screaming at Our Lady. "O you who are our enemy, our downfall and our destruction, why have you come from heaven just to torture us so grievously? O advocate of sinners, you who snatch them from the very jaws of hell, you who are the very sure path to heaven, must we, in spite of ourselves, tell the whole truth and confess before everyone who is the cause of our shame and our ruin? O woe unto us, the prince of darkness! Then listen well, you Christians." The crowd trembled at the frightful screams. Although they were glad at the demons' defeat, they could feel the hatred with which the devils were about to answer Saint Dominic's question. So half in triumph and half in fear, they listened to the demons' reluctant revelation. The Mother of Jesus Christ is all-powerful, the fallen angels east, and she can save her servants from falling into hell. Mary is the sun which destroys the darkness of our wiles and subtlety. It is she who uncovers our hidden plots, breaks our snares, and makes our temptations useless and ineffectual. We have to say, because we are forced to tell the truth, that not a single soul who has really persevered in her service has ever been damned with us. One single sigh that she offers to the Blessed Trinity is worth far more than all the prayers and aspirations of all the saints. We fear her more than all the saints in heaven together, and we have no success with her faithful servants. Many Christians who call upon her when they are at the hour of death and who really ought to be damned according to ordinary standards are saved by her intercession. "Oh, if only that Mary," they disgustedly screamed, "had not pitted her strength against ours and had not upset our plan, we should have conquered the church and destroyed it long before this. And we would have seen to it that all the orders in the church fell into error and disorder. Now that we are forced to speak, we must also tell you this: no one who perseveres in saying the rosary will be damned, because she obtains for her servants the grace of true contrition for their sins, and by means of this they obtain God's forgiveness and mercy." The multitude present was astonished and gazed wide-eyed at the reluctant speaker. They were deeply moved by what the demons had said. They came to believe in the power of the Holy Rosary. So, my dear friends in Christ, let us not forget that no one who perseveres in saying the Rosary will be damned.